It's my time to introduce myself. So first things first, came from the Philippines, Southeast Asia, a lot of beautiful beaches. Um, Weather is just rainy and warm and warmest. Um, a lot of traffic. I mean, I love it, but the food is very lovely, but there's a lot of traffic. And I was born and raised there, so I stayed there until I was 20, 26, I guess. Wow, I'm old. And as for my education, started my kinder to high school with Chiang Kai-shek College. So basically, it's a Chinese private school in Metro Manila. Metro Manila is the capital. So I was learning Filipino, English, Hokkien, Minanhua, meaning Mandarin, even the Taiwanese simplified, and the traditional. So it's not a good childhood because you like study all throughout your day while doing sports as well and music, typical Asian. Next, I took my college and university, De La Salle University, one of the top schools in Metro Manila. In that time, I was taking my finance undergrad. I started with accountancy, but it was way too freaking hard, I guess just because of the school as well. So I shifted to accountancy, which is the closest one that I could think of. And while I was working that time, I was also taking up a certificate course in Berkeley Online. So I studied music production. More about that later. And then after working for 5 years, I went to CDU, took my MBA halfway through. I fell in love with technology, and I'm now in the MSCS program. And I'm about to graduate. This is my last part. Aside from that, while studying as well, I did finish up my boot camp with Firehose project to learn about software development. So I was doing Ruby on Rails, did like 4 to 5 projects there, and you get a one-on-one mentor. Also, I utilize a lot of the free code camp resources just because when I was starting, I don't know where to start, how to code, how to build websites. So a lot of education, sure. About my work experience though, I did start while studying in my college. My part-time work was a volleyball coach for 4 years, and then after I graduated from college, I started with Thomson Reuters, but again, it's in a Philippine headquarters. So I started there as a research analyst, contractual, and after 3 months, I learned that by using your Mandarin skills, you would earn times two. So I tried learning again my Mandarin skills, and then eventually got a job as a research analyst Mandarin, where we analyze financial reports, annual, quarterly releases from Taiwan, Hong Kong, and China companies, and we have to translate those. So that would say that I can do conversational Chinese in Mandarin. I know more how to read and type in financial terms in Chinese. Also, after learning that my market value was way higher, so I shifted to S&P Capital IQ in the Philippines as well, times 3 of what I'm making, so I went there. And also, when I started working here, I was doing my side job as well as a non-life insurance agent. So for those who doesn't know what a non-life insurance agent does, basically we insure everything that's like doesn't have life. So car, building, things like that. And I found that way easier just because you don't need to convince people, hey, you need life insurance. Hey, you need life insurance. Hey, you need medical insurance. No, because it's a business requirement to have insurance, it's easier to sell. They come to you. So that's one of it. While I was taking my MBA, I've taken an internship here in Bellevue, which is in Greater Seattle area. It's an investment banking firm where I help them create like marketing packets, investment, financial analysis, those type of stuff. Um, while I was in the Philippines as well, during my corporate days at night, I was DJing for 4 years. So think of me like a workaholic or whatsoever before then.
There is YouTube of him performing.
Yeah, just one YouTube though. Yeah, so
It's out there.
but I do have like hundreds of mixtapes, and I love EDM, tropical bass, tropical house, hip hop, top 40, those things. It was fun, sure. And then at CDU, after 1 year in CDU in my MBA as well, I was lucky to get a job as a international student office student assistant. So I may have touched one of the records for the international students here and do the application, put it in the system. After 6 months, I was given another job as the site assistant operations. So meaning I was the front desk people saying hi to everyone. Don't use the restroom. You might be homeless, so we have to call someone, things like that. And then again, after a year, I was lucky to be a TA in CDU as a TA in the Technology Institute during that time. Now it's School of Technology and Computing. Also got lucky to help out with the AWS Apprentice program, which he was there as well, and was lucky enough to get the opportunity to teach one class. And now I'm transitioning towards more of like a graduate assistant, meaning I teach classes and I should not help really students a lot because it will take more time from me. And again, all of this was, let's see, no, that's the fun stuff. All of this was not easy because again, my motto in life is I don't care if I fail, but I learn. So even like here, when I was looking for a job for a Mandarin job, I was not good in Mandarin. I repeated like many times for my Chinese subjects just because we don't really use Mandarin in the Philippines. We use the dialect of Mandarin, which is Hokkien. So even that one, applying, failing, trying to remember, okay, this is the questions they asked, and now applying, and then now succeeding. So I hope most of you guys are not scared to try, especially coming from a more conservative background. Just apply, learn from it, and move on. Don't think about what other people might think. Okay. Next is favorites. Oh, okay, because I was born in the 90s, so I have a lot of fun. So there's Power Rangers. I love Pokemon. I love Zelda. Smash Bros. Final Fantasy VII. I used to play this a lot as well. I'm not really good at it. Skyrim. Now I transition more to a lot of board games because a lot of people play board games here, and also indie games because it just takes a small amount of time from me and not really sit through and play many games. So for my technology skills, I wouldn't say I'm an expert on one thing. You can say that I'm a generalist. I touch upon a lot of technologies because when I started transitioning with my background, I literally knew nothing about programming as well. But what I did was I started going to meetups because one of the professors here said, you want to learn more? It's not in class. You should go out, which is, again, true because in Seattle, there's a lot of meetups. So in 2 years, I went to around, because I document stuff, I went to around 90 meetups. That includes workshops, seminars, casual meetup, beer and code, whatever, free code camp, .NET Association, AWS, Google Summit, Microsoft, so everything. I just go there because it's free. There's free food as well. So you might want to try and look out for those meetups. You can find that in Facebook as well. So again, I was searching a lot. That's why I went to meetups like programming, data science, information security, even VR. So all of those stuff just to know what I want. And then I found that what I want is web development and software engineering. So I try to focus there more. So again, quickly explaining MySQL, basically because you need SQL as a web developer, you need to know database. So connecting to the database, doing queries as well, stuff like that, normalizing your data. Linux, I was forced to learn this because of the AWS Apprentice program. We have to teach them Linux as well. Linux is just an operating system that is open source, and most of the servers run on Linux. Here, Rails, Ruby on Rails is one of the technology that you use to build a web app. And with Rails, you can easily create a web app. However, there's a lot of magic happening so that when I finish my bootcamp, there's a lot of magic happening in the back end. I did not really learn a lot on how to manually put stuff connecting the database during that time. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, those are the core components you need for website development. Node.js, backend framework, Git, version control, GitHub, remote repository, PostgreSQL is another SQL managed database. It's open source. So Kali Linux because of penetration testing and information security. AWS because it's super popular. Everything runs in the cloud. WordPress, easily spin up your website. You don't really need to build it from scratch if you just want to put your portfolio and link all your web apps there. Python, because I'm also new to tech. So when preparing for this technical interview, I found that it's way easier to just go Python and solve my problems instead of going to JavaScript, Java, because I started with
Braces for a whiteboard, really.
yes, because I started with C++ because I studied here, right? And then found, oh, C++ is nice, and then come with all those compiler errors. Wow, it's so freaking hard. So I went to JavaScript because of free code camp, and it's too loose. That's the other problem. Then I went to Java, and then they say, oh shit, Java, it's so hard as well, because instead of me solving the problem right away, I'm stuck implementing a lot of stuff before solving the problem. So I research more, and it looks like Python for me is the way to go, so that I can just see the problem, understand, solve it right away. So that's advice if you guys are new to tech and you have a limited short of time, especially for international students like me as well. Okay, so TypeScript, should look out for that because everyone is migrating to TypeScript. It's just basically JavaScript. So TypeScript is just a code that compiles to JavaScript and basically runs. So as you can see, whatever your field is, whether you're going to go full-fledged software engineer, business major, you should at least know what are these technologies and what are they doing. Because I've already had friends like program manager, technical program manager. They should know what's a back end. They should know what the tools in the back end. They should know what framework is different from a library. They should know what's a version control. They should know which database to use. Why SQL? Why no SQL? Okay. So I guess that's about me. So again, I'd like this class to be a free-flowing discussion. Anytime you want to comment, ask me stuff, go ahead. I don't mind. Okay, so that ends the introduction. So let's go for the thank you. And one thing before I go to the Blackboard is I really believe in the power of connections. So feel free to connect to me on LinkedIn. Find me. And I'd like you guys as well to connect within yourself. You can do it now, later, during the break, after the class. Because you may never know, the next person might be the one who would refer you to a company that you want, right? And I also believe in the concept of the weakest link. Meaning, let's say I know you, I don't really know you so much, but because you know someone from a company, and then you can just, that person can refer me. You're the weakest link for my connection, but then it's still a connection. So again, most of my work, I'm not really good at proving in interview that, hey, I'm so good, I'm an expert. No, it's usually someone recommending me and referring me to get through those jobs. Again, we all have different strengths and skill sets, so might as well do everything you can. Okay, so let's go to Blackboard. So Blackboard, before I show you stuff in the Blackboard UI, the user interface, I'll quickly give explanation on what are the contents that we're going to do. So Muddiest Point is basically a method for just-in-time teaching for instructors, meaning you guys putting those input is better for not only me, but also for you because you learn what you want. So if you put good Muddiest Point, definitely you'll get better output from the class as well. And again, we'll try to move away from this lecture heavy style, meaning, okay, chapter 1, 2, 3, and then we'll lecture 1, 2, 3. No, we'll lecture bits of them and touch the Muddiest Point and do activities. We'll try to do more of this communication, collaboration, and just-in-time teaching. Again, Muddiest Point is due a day before the class, so that I also get time to prepare to answer those questions. Next is discussion board. So this is basically you practicing your communication skills online, and you just need to do it before the end of Wednesday, and then respond to before the end of Friday to 2 of your classmates. So before it's like 250 words. Good thing they reduced it to 50 to 100 words. And hopefully you guys, when you post something, make sure it's more of like open-ended as well. So other students may not find it hard to respond to your post. Because I remember when we were using discussion board is a lot of students would just post summary and then another student would post the summary, and now people would just say, thank you, great post, right? So let's make the most out of it, like put an extra comment and what your thought is, and because we want to have this, you're creating a new stuff out of it instead of just like evaluating the stuff that you have in the video. Nope, wrong. Hands-on practice. So basically what we want to do is we want to pair program you guys, meaning hopefully you work in pairs and basically go through the documents that we prepared. And it's basically to have more technical experience, not just lecture. You do have hands-on. Aside from that, I'll try to check the general sense of the class on how far we can go, if we should put more content because it's too easy, or maybe just do small content because it's so hard. So we'll try to gauge that along with the class. We'll not try to like leave everyone out and go light speed something. And because this is a pass or fail, meaning we really want you guys to talk to one another, collaborate, help, but still it's an individual submission, so make sure you write your own words, okay? Again, okay to collaborate, but don't plagiarize. Go ahead.
Is it pair programming, is that the same grade per pair, or is it different?
It's individual submission.
Individual submission.
So, because right now, I know some students have finished the hands-on totally fine. So what you can do is have that student again to, let's say you're paired with someone, and now we can teach that someone that, let's say, doesn't have a tech background or having a hard time as well. Because there's two ways to learn. One is you learn by seeing what the lecture is, reading the document. The other thing is learning by teaching. So if you're done, you have an extra way to learn is you learn to teach other people. How can you get the message across? How can you make sure the other person understands what she's doing?
As some evidence in support of communication also being its own skill, I've been on the job for about 2 months as a software developer, and I have written more technical documents to try to get people to approve my designs than I have written code by like 10 times. There's just so much more writing involved than people typically think for like doing a tech job in quotes.
And I remember the approval process is not really easy. I mean, a lot of people would scrutinize first if it's really good or not, right? Yeah.
It's a hard problem. So just the value of having to teach things and get technical concepts across to other people is a skill of its own.
So one thing I like to note that in this class as well, I'm also thinking about some students would do short presentations like 5 minutes, because I really want you guys to build your communication skills. I don't really care if it is a very simple topic. If you can't explain it, it's a failure. So even though you know how to do object-oriented programming, you know how to build web apps, if you can't even explain what a, let's say, for loop properly, that defeats the purpose, right? Next is knowledge check. I would say this part of the content is kind of like a giveaway, because everything should be in the textbook, okay? But you do have only 3 tries, I think 2, maybe 2 tries to finish it. So usually a lot of people get close to maximum grade for this knowledge check. It basically just reinforces your whatever you read in the textbook, okay? Also, if anything is not working in the Blackboard, please contact me so I can fix it. So research paper, you would have 2 individual papers. One is data acquisition and encoding project. I think this is about the data sensors. Next is the protocol project. It's more like the networking. So as you can see, this is your individual project for the first 5 weeks. Just so you know, first 5 weeks we'll be talking more about databases. The second half, which is week 6 to week 10, we'll talk more about networking. Okay? And then basically the first paper is for the first half, the second paper is for the second half. Team project, on the other hand, we'll have the first half, we'll do data modeling and database. And the second half, we'll do a cloud network design proposal. Okay? Let's see. Overview of course grading. So we made it very, very easy. The total for the points is 1,000. So if you, let's start first with here. Hands-on practice. Basically, it's a pass or fail. If you submit, it's good within the criteria, you get 20% already. Okay? Knowledge check. Again, everything's the textbook. You get 10% for that. Completing modules point and discussion board as well, you get 20%. So the only thing that you might get deducted on this is you submit stuff late. If you fail to inform me beforehand that, hey, something's coming up, can I have an extension? Sure, I'll give you maybe 2 days extension. But if I don't get any email, you'll get deductions for late submission. Okay. As for again the research projects, I think by today you should also have a maybe not yet a group because we start this I think week 3. Okay. 20% and 30%, and I just posted the format again. What we want to do here is we give you this conference paper style format and it's sky's the limit. If it's really, really good, I could say, hey, do you want to still work on this paper? I can recommend this to the dean, and then the dean would check it as well. And then the dean may say, oh, let's submit this to the conference. And then you may never know, you might get accepted to the conference, published in a journal, which luckily, I also did this in a class before in system admin, I think cloud, something cloud, okay. So we just submitted a research paper, but it was well-defined. Again, we have Kevin Wang there as well, that's why it was really good. So we sent it to a conference and it got accepted by CISSE, and because I was the main author, I was lucky enough to be supported by the school, go to Las Vegas, present the paper, and now it's pending acceptance in the journal. But again, it's not only me, it's because it was only us who said that, hey, we want to work on it more. So we did more extra work. Not only us, there were other groups as well that had good paper, but they didn't say that we want to work on it more, even though the dean reached out to them already, okay? So for textbooks, first half we'll have this principles of data management for Gordon. And the second half, we'll have the data communications network with IBA. And just going back, sorry, for the hands-on practice, we'll be using MySQL, hopefully Docker as well. And I recently found out that Robert said that there's a lot of workaround for Docker to be used in Windows Home. So if you can do the workaround, good, because I also want you guys to try Docker. If not, feel free to use a virtual box or to connect that, or just download the MySQL instead.
Shameless plug, you can do AWS too. Mm-hmm. Or if you're a Microsoft person, you can set up a MySQL server on Azure as well. So if you,
there you go.
If you need an instance of a database server, both Microsoft and Azure, I don't know about Google. Google's kind of behind.
Yeah.
But Microsoft and Amazon have got you.
It's super easy to set up, but one thing that you have to note about is don't forget to stop or terminate your instance, or you'll be paying money to Amazon, which I paid many times, just forgetting to turn off those instances.
Yeah, I have a free account, so I can.
I know.
I can do whatever I want.
You're lucky.
Everybody else, be careful.
Let's see. So show you the Blackboard then. Let's do. Edit mode off. Send preview. So announcement, first thing that you have to check, announcement, if there's some stuff let's say added or things to look out for. Also, we do have a club meeting every Thursday, and there's a orientation coming up. Is this next week? I think next week, 3 to 4:30 p.m. in Vancouver room. Please join us. I don't know if there's going to be food, but please reserve your slots. You can see it in Blackboard. So again, I'm a strong advocate of this club because I'm one of the person that started it a year ago, but I really turned it over, so I don't really manage it anymore. But that's where I learned a lot. And again, we have some members here as well, and you can sit down, listen to people sharing technology stuff about their personal project or what research they're going on, or you can also share your, again, participate, again, be engaged, and network with them, build relationships. And just so you know, the topics that we touch for the duration that it's existed, again, data science, have people researching quantum computing, have people researching AI, machine learning, software development with Django, MinStack as well. Information security, we have people doing penetration testing. When we had the Gen students, we had a lot of game development presentations as well. We do also have MBA people coming in and project management people doing their other side, like the business side of it. So that's about it. So watch out for announcements. And course content. So right now, I've only locked it to module 1, but you'll have access to 2 and so on in a while. So again, I do have lecture here, but these are just still my placeholder. I try to update my lecture slides as well before coming into class. So this is just a glimpse of what can be talked about. But again, we're kind of using this model where our source of truth is the syllabus, and then the syllabus now creates the modules, and then now the modules follow, the lecture follows those modules as well. So meaning follows the textbook, sorry. So here, I think, has anyone have no access in Blackboard? Everyone has access on Blackboard. Has anyone posted their SIA? Well, everyone posted their SIA? Who has not? Okay, also try to post your SIA there. It's because it's a requirement. It's also a way for us to see that it's working, that you can post stuff. Because if not, we have to check it out. So SIA as well is our way to check that if you can do stuff in Blackboard. And then you can also go through the discussion section to view everything right away. Or you can also go to assignment section to view all the assignments right away. Aside from that, I think you can view your grades here. Yes, you can view your grades here. For me, as a student, I usually double check the submitted page if I really submitted something. You may never know, you click submit, it did not load. So if you submitted it, at least you would see submitted at what date. Coming or graded. Okay. So faculty information. Again, we do have a TA center. It's called STC TA Center. If you have any, let's say, questions in hands-on, but I think you guys will just ask me. But in case you don't want to bug me, you guys can contact STC TA Center at cdu.edu, and one of the TAs would reply and help you out. And please, please, please make it as detailed as possible, because again, TAs are handling a lot of courses. If you just say, hey, I can't do this, and then it sounds like, and it adds up extra time to the TA to ask about, so what's your course? What's your assignment number? What step is it? So just make it faster, just be detailed. Again, I'm your instructor.